coding itself, so actually sitting in front of the computer and writing code for hours, that probably very quickly will go away, right?
Who is the prom king of LLMs right now, and who's kind of eating lunch alone at the cafeteria for you?
I think model wars or trying to have a best model is a trap. OpenAI definitely has the best model right now, which is GPT 5.2 X high, right? And finally, it started to hacking the website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was overwriting the JavaScript functions and replacing them with his own code to beat that, to get to that level of below 10 milliseconds.
That little cheater. Konnichiwa. Welcome to the AI Automation Dojo. Today we are looking at the state of software development and asking, are we engineers or are we just wizards shouting spells at a black box until it does what we want? Our guest today is Krzysztof Karaszewski. A long time ago, he actually taught me UiPath development, so if you think my code is bad, well, technically, it's his fault. We're going to talk about model wars, the potential extinction of traditional bots, and something called vibe coding, which frankly feels like something Gen Z does while ignoring your emails. I'm your host, Andrzej Kinastowski, one of the founders of Office Samurai, where we believe the only thing that should be hallucinating is us at the company party. Now, grab your favorite katana or a shovel to bury your old tech stack, and let's get to it. Today we have Krzysztof Karaszewski with us, an automation and AI expert. I first met Krzysztof something like 8 years ago. He was at the time working at Symphony Ventures, and I was lucky enough to attend his advanced UiPath RPA developer training. Since then, he has gone a long way, both in automation and AI. Krzysztof, welcome to the dojo.
Welcome, thank you for having me.
Krzysztof, what's the one thing that you thought was the most mind-blowing in last year?
Well, definitely the progress that has been made when it comes to LLMs. We were starting with relatively simple systems that has grown to unprecedented scale. And we started the year with AI being able to do very simple coding with and ending a year with actually systems that can build other systems.
Yeah, so on that, let's take a deeper look at 2025, right? We began the year thinking we know something, right? And now when we look back at it, it feels like ancient civilization. And the speed of development in certain areas has been kind of ridiculous. So the tools that we hyped up 6-9 months ago are now kind of obsolete. So give us the Autopsy report. So what actually happened on the market this past year, and why does everything feel to move so fast?
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning, because actually we entered 2025 with some strong beliefs or strong statements. At the very beginning, actually, everything that happened in 2025 was set up in very late 2024, when actually new reasoning models, the first reasoning models has been released in the form of O1. Of course, also many people believe that actually we hit the wall when it comes to LLMs. And even Ilya Sutskever confirmed that there is a new space of ingenuity that we need to empower, that we need to employ in order to make a progress, right? And that's funny, because at the end of 2025, we learned that actually that's not necessarily true, and it seems that we has not hit the wall. But yes, this late 2024 advancement allow us to enter 2025 with new types of models, reasoning models that actually we can call it think, but actually it's a more complicated process. The reasoning models generates tokens, and they are additionally trained how these tokens should be generated, right? And use of that increases their performance. Of course, there are some limitations and disadvantages of such approach, but definitely the gains of in intelligence allows to make up for it. Right, so we are entering the year with the strong belief that we hit a wall, and only like reinforcement learning will be able to move us forward. Which not necessarily was later on true, but definitely the first big premiere of 2025 was model R1, the reasoning model from DeepSeek, that definitely shocked the entire world because it was trained just a fraction of the cost that O1 was trained, and was really good at more or less at the same level. But instantly, I personally was able to see the issues with such models because R1 was thinking really hard and really, really long, right? Use of that, it was not that easy to use for any agentic systems where, for example, where the users were expecting instant answer, right? This is what we get to used to during 2024, that we are getting these answers almost instantly. But in January, everything changed, and we had to wait a little bit longer, but for much better answer.
Yeah. I remember how big a fuss it made, because we thought like the Americans refused to sell chips to China, and we thought they're not going to make it. And suddenly, as you said, for a fraction of a cost, they come up with a model that is surprisingly good, right? And in many ways, from that cost perspective, it kind of put to shame all the other companies that were burning billions on their models, right? But when we're at the models, right, people talk about model wars, right? And everybody wants to have the best model, the one that tops the charts. What are your power rankings right now? So who is the prom king of LLMs right now, and who's kind of eating lunch alone at the cafeteria for you?
I think model wars, or trying to have a best model, is a trap. And I clearly see that when it comes to OpenAI. OpenAI definitely has the best model right now, which is GPT 5.2 X high, right? So even the name is kind of strange, but they were never good with naming, on the other hand. So when you think about it, it's absolutely great model. Probably we cannot even measure how good it is, right? It's just very powerful model. But on the other hand, it just costs a lot. It's 3 times, something 2 times more expensive than the second best. And on the top of that, it's like the case of R1, right? It thinks a lot, generates a lot of output tokens that are usually from 5 to 4 times more expensive than the input tokens, right? So there are definitely, it's not that it's all good, right? Definitely there are some disadvantages when it comes to using these models. And also, in my opinion, they doesn't fit that well into agentic use, because right, it thinks, and the output use of that every step in the reasoning process takes a lot of time. Actions also takes a lot of time. But yeah, that's definitely the best model right now. So GPT 5.2 X high. The second best, I would say, and this is also shows how different strategies these companies have. So we have, of course, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google competing with each other. And right now, the XAI from Elon Musk is a little bit behind, but let's see what the new models that they will release this year will bring to the table. But just focusing on these 3 big AI labs, I think the OpenAI has a biggest disparity when it comes to the models that they have and the product that they have, because the product that is ChatGPT, right, where you basically most of the people ask silly questions, to be honest, right? There's some simple questions. Most of these questions can be quickly answered by Googling something, right? So, but the model that they have is just thinks a lot and actually doesn't give that great user experience. When for any answer you actually need to wait a very long time. And there is very big difference between OpenAI non-thinking, non-reasoning model version of that model, because every reasoning model has its also, or most of them has also its not reasoning version, right? So there is a high reasoning version of GPT 5.2, but also there is non-reasoning version, and this non-reasoning version it's really not that good, right? It's just actually struggles, and this is what most of the ChatGPT, especially free users, will encounter, right? What they will face. So actually, that's why in August we had a situation when people were disappointed with GPT-5 because it was giving worse answers than GPT-4o, right? And for
and it was quite hyped by Altman, saying, "Oh, it's gonna be so amazing," and then people get it and start using it, and they say, not
because
great,
because they had access to GPT-4o, which was quite good. It was giving answer human-like, right? There was definitely some human-like vibe into it, and now they are getting answers from way smaller model, right? Which actually requires you to pay if you want to get these answers better, right? So definitely that's why many people were disappointed, and I think the OpenAI doesn't have that great strategy in that sense that they have great models, right? But only if you pay a lot, right? So they are not for a general audience, and their best product, which is ChatGPT, is for a general audience, right? So there is, in my opinion, there is a disparity, and then you have to just like try to maybe come up with some other models on the other approach. And contrary to that, we have Anthropic, which absolutely has, in my opinion, phenomenal strategy, because they focus only on the things that work, right? So they do not try to replace Hollywood with their new Sora model, right? They are not trying to make another great image model or anything like that. They only focus on agentic automation, agentic coding, and in that space, despite the fact that their model are not topping charts, right? They're a little bit behind the even Google's model, to be honest, in some specific benchmarks, right? But they are the most usable, right? They're definitely the best when it comes to applicability. And not many people has noticed that actually right now you can use Anthropic models within Copilot and Copilot Studio from Microsoft, right? So Microsoft was backing up OpenAI for many months, right?
And they spent billions.
And right now they are realizing that maybe for their enterprise clients, which pays the most, that OpenAI will not be the best fit. Maybe just give these people an option to you start using Anthropic. And in that space, right, despite the fact that Opus 4.5 is not topping all of the charts, it's probably the most usable model right now, right? This is the model that I'm using daily, because it answers my questions or my queries way faster, and it provides very good answers, and it's absolutely phenomenal when it comes to agentic work, right? It can generate the entire systems, and maybe later during this discussion I will be able to show you one of such systems, right, without actually human supervision, right? So I believe that's one of the breakthroughs in 2025. And we have Google that I think also has a very strong team, because it's Google DeepMind is working on AI systems for many months, years, right? And use of that, they absolutely have a phenomenal talent, a lot of resources, probably the biggest computation resources on the planet if you combine all the data centers. And actually, they are not training their model in one place. They are able to train it in different time in different places, right? So if there is the demand for the computation is going down, they can just start training their models. And and also they have very good Gemini 3 Flash model that should be model that fits ChatGPT, to be honest, because it's fast, it answers very quickly, it provides very good answers, and it's just few points behind the top level models. So that that's why we see that the numbers of Gemini chat applications are growing, right? Because for these regular users, Gemini Flash makes more sense, right? It's 4 times cheaper, I think, than GPT 5.2, right? The basic version, right? Even without reasoning. So that's long story.
Gemini has been probably my favorite model of 2025. I haven't tried much of Anthropic, I must say. I got disappointed with ChatGPT at a certain point, and I switched to Gemini, and it has disappointed me at times. But kind of all in all, the experience was really good, especially when you kind of switch to the fast model for simple stuff, and if you want to go deeper, you go to the pro model, and then it kind of figures out things for you. But this is quite interesting, because I remember 3 years ago when LLM started, right? Everyone was saying OpenAI has such an advantage over everyone else that it's going to be extremely hard for others to catch up. And actually, everyone was laughing at Google, because the idea was that they kind of slept through something big, right? And it seems that 3 years is enough to catch up and to change things if you have enough money.
and Google has a lot of it. Right. I mean, I was never underestimating Google, to be honest. I was using Google models from the very beginning, actually from version 1.5. It was solid model, not difficult to compare it with GPT 4.0, GPT 4.0, and other best models at the time, like Sonnet 3, that's late 2024. But the reason why Google was a little bit behind was they make a strategic decision that they are not going to release LLM models till they solve the hallucination. Right, which is funny considering that right now Demis Hassabis, who is leading Google DeepMind, is saying that probably will never be able to solve this hallucination. Always some level of hallucinations will be part of the LLMs models, right? So that's why they didn't want to invest too much money into that technology. But later on, when they saw how good I believe these models are, how that the market actually expecting from them to release it, and they are losing in the stock value. That's probably the biggest reasons why they redirected so many funds into that LLM space. Definitely, Google surprised many people in 2025, right? Many people were surprised. I saw that in late 2024 when they released the Gemini 2.0 Flash model, right before the full version of OpenAI 01 model. And that was really good one, right? It was, I think, like 12 or 15 times cheaper than GPT 4.0, but it was performing almost at the same level. And in many areas, it was even better. Right, and also that 1 million context windows, definitely. So that was, I believe, at the time, like 10 times more than any other model was capable to analyze at once. So and later on, there was right after the DeepSeek R1 was released, Google also released an experimental version of Gemini Flash. with reasoning. It was thinking model, and it was actually a great model. It was answering very fast, and that was the first time when I realized that actually these models are getting better and better for coding, right? Because Gemini 2.0 Flash thinking was able, without any hallucinations, was able to output even like 2,000 to 3,000 lines of code, right? So we were ending the year with like few hundred, and then we see the like 10 times bump, right? Increase in just over a few months. So definitely that was surprising, and I think people realize that Google is definitely catching up right after the release of Gemini 2.5 Pro.
Yep.
And now it was for everyone, it was clear that Google is back in the game.
Yeah. I do want to get into coding, but first I've got to ask you, because you mentioned hallucinations, which is my favorite topic with LLMs. And I feel like this is, like for the last 10 years, Elon Musk has been saying next year Teslas are going to be fully autonomous, right? And we still don't. I still have to drive my daughter to work, right? And Sam Altman for the last 3 years has been saying next year we're going to get rid of hallucinations. And are we ever, like, what's your take on this? Is it like, is it built into the technology, or is there any chance that we're going to get it to a level that where we no longer have to make all the memes about all the things that those engines are getting wrong?
As long as we will not find better architecture than large language models, probably hallucinations will never go away.
Okay.
Right? Models always hallucinate. They hallucinate correctly in most of the times, and sometimes they make mistakes. This is what I really liked about that early 2025 Gemini models, because the hallucination rate was at the 0.5%, which was very, very low. And other models like O3 was hallucinating at the rate of something close to 6%, which is like, it's a huge difference. 6% is just, let's be honest, this is not a production ready tool, right? If it hallucinates that often and every 20 times you're getting hallucinated answer, that a lot of money, right, that you're risking, that you're putting on a bet. So that's why I liked the Gemini 2.0 Flash. And later on, unfortunately, Google and Gemini moved away from that strategy, and right now their models hallucinate even more, right? So which is unfortunate. Which that's why I would not recommend Gemini models for all production use cases, right? Definitely, you could use. It might make more sense to use Anthropic's models right now, because Sonnet is also known to hallucinate way less than other models, right? OpenAI is just a little bit somewhere in between. But yeah, I don't think that with LLMs, probably the hallucinations will never go away, and so that the verification mechanism in agentic systems is so important.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the coding, because I know I see your LinkedIn posts. I know this is something that you are very interested in. The term vibe coding has been a big thing, right? And it really does sound like something Gen Z does while listening to lo-fi beats. And we see people building software by just kind of talking to AI, and whatever building software means, right? And even for this podcast, right? And when we've been starting the podcast, I needed a prompter software, right? But I had very specific needs when it comes to how it works and so on. And it took me like two hours of searching, and I couldn't find one that was exactly right. And then like I spent 15 minutes with Google Gemini, and it just wrote it for me exactly how I wanted it, exactly what I needed.
Software on demand. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And this is really, really interesting. I love it. But then the question is, how far is it gonna go, or how far are we right now? Are all the programmers and engineers gonna go extinct because we're just gonna kind of magically make software? Or is this just something that you can play with, you can do small things with, but because of the nature of LLMs, maybe never will be able to build something big that is realistically production ready? What's your take?
So definitely we'll be able to build production-ready systems, and that's not a far future, in my opinion. I'm already building such production-ready systems myself, using various methods. But let's first start with explaining why it works, right? So I said at the very beginning that we have this 2025 was a year of reasoning models, right? Yeah. And how this reasoning happens. It's actually a mechanism of training, doing the post-training of a model, so additional training for regular large language model, when you're giving the model rewards whenever it was right? And how you know something, the model was right, basically, but by verifying something. And code, mathematics, right? A lot of the science can be quickly verified if that's correct or wrong. Especially the code and mathematics, these are like 2 + 2 = 4. You can quickly verify that without actually having another LLM model checking if that's correct, because that model also can hallucinate, right? You saw that you cannot build for regular conversations very easily such a system that can make these verifications. Yeah. But for code and mathematics, you can do that. And in that space, the biggest advancements has been done. We were starting 25 with, I believe, Frontier Math, which is super hard benchmark. Right, this the tasks in that benchmark normally would take weeks for skilled mathematicians to do. Right, and right now we were starting that year 2025 with just 2%, something close to that. Right now we have over 40. Right, so there's like 20 times advancements in that area of mathematics. Right now, also Acme benchmark is basically saturated. All of the mathematical questions or tasks from that benchmark has been solved by LLM models, right? And that's why also code has the same properties. It can be verifiable, either it compiles or not, right? Either it meets certain requirements or not. That's verifiable. Due to that, these reasoning models are getting extremely good at coding. And we were starting with LLM models. We were starting 2025 with LLM models actually doing simple stuff. Simple coding, maybe a few hundred lines at best. And right now, AI is capable of generating full systems, especially if you plug it to tools like Cloud Code, which are agentic solutions that can read the code, analyze the data, get something from web to confirm if they're approaching the task in a right way. Right. So definitely. That's probably everyone was surprised when Andrzej Karpathy coined that phrase, vibe coding. It became quickly a meme. People are still laughing, but I don't think there is anything to laugh about, because like I said, Opus 4.5 definitely can run for hours. It's no longer minutes. It can run for hours. Do a lot of coding during sleep, right? So because it no longer requires that direct supervision and just builds the code. And also methods and tools are becoming better and better every month, right? So Cloud Code at the very beginning was, for example, very rough, not very pleasant for regular users. Right now we have extensions, we have some additional features that makes this tool not only better, but also more approachable by regular users.
Okay. So what's the future of programmers? Like if you are a programmer, let's say a mid programmer in some like, I don't know, C# or whatever, right? What do you do? Like, do you scream and hide, or do you think about complete career change, or what would you say is the right adequate reaction to all that's happening?
That's very difficult to say. And also it depends how quickly organizations will be able to embrace that technology, how much they will be willing to risk. Probably after many companies burning their fingers with this hallucinations and stuff and these agentic solutions that not always works correctly, probably they will be less eager to risk. But in my opinion, definitely you still need to know how to code. And with just agentic models, you can just learn it much faster. So I think the skill of coding, programming, it's not going away. Especially the skills like system design, user experience, right? Knowing what the good looks like, that's not going away. Also, this business knowledge, right? It still is required to guide the LLM models how to develop solutions. But the coding itself, so actually sitting in front of the computer and writing code for hours, that probably very quickly will go away, right? With every developer that right now I speak, they use some sort of agentic automation, right? So agentic coding. They use the tools like Lovable to quickly just spin up some example for the client, right? And it's definitely, it makes the discussion way more productive if you can show actually the piece of the code, how the application can look like, right? Or give quickly a few options without almost any effort, and show it to the client rather than just basing the discussions on the PowerPoint slides, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is huge. From my perspective, this is huge because you can create a prototype, an MVP or whatever very quickly, so you can actually go and show people how it will look like, how it will work, without doing it for weeks, right? This for sure is something to embrace. I am on the fence on this. I am not a programmer. I have been programming most of my life, a lot of different languages, but I'm not a programmer. I've just been doing it here and there when there was a need to do this, right? But so I am quite eager to see. First thing is, will we be able to get the hallucinations under control enough to be able to trust the code or to test it? But as you said, it's easier to test software than other kind of answers from an LLM. But another thing that is quite interesting to me is that it really feels like at this moment, we still need senior experienced programmers, architects, people who have been doing it for years and understand the whole thing, but we seem to no longer need juniors and maybe mids, right? But then if you don't use juniors and mids, you will never get new seniors, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's kind of a conundrum that I don't know how what will happen.
That's definitely one of the biggest risks as associated with agentic coding. Actually, hallucinations, right? That in the code, that's not a big deal because you can always verify that. You can write tests, right? And like a few months ago, LLMs were not good at writing tests, or they're hallucinating that the test pass and everything is working fine. But definitely we will need that human factor in all the code produce, and I think we'll produce much more code. To use of that, we will need more people, right? So I don't think that developers as a role, as a type of job will go away. Maybe they will have a little bit stagnation on the market, right? So definitely for juniors right now, it's more difficult to find a job. But also LLMs allows these juniors developers to learn much faster, and this is what I probably would advise any junior developers right now struggling with maybe finding a job or not having the ones desired. Just use the agentic coding to improve your skills. So use LLMs to improve your skills, and it definitely you will see that you can learn a lot from these LLMs. They are not as stupid as many people think, and that's I believe it's also very popular belief that they hallucinate, they just make the things up, and they are not very good. No, I think that's no longer the case. They can really guide you and also like improve your skills, teach you a lot of things, even if sometimes they will be wrong, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the end, people seem to expect LLM answers to be perfect, and I do too. We laugh at things they get wrong, but the thing is, we don't need them to be perfect. We just need them to be better than an average human, right? And an average human also makes mistakes. People hallucinate a lot,
exactly.
Right? You take your friends out for a beer, and after a third beer, start talking politics, and you will see how many things people hallucinate, how many facts they will just come up with just to show that they are right. So it's not like we humans do not make mistakes or hallucinate. In the end, it is about LLMs not doing a worse job than a human does, right? But you do have first-hand experience, and I wanted to ask you, because I know you have built something for a Google contest. I'm quite eager to hear what it was and what was your experience building it in an agentic way, because from what I understand, you have not been programming anything. You didn't write any code. It was an agent doing it for you, right?
Yeah. Actually, because also there is very strong popular belief that AI cannot build software that hasn't been already built, right? So and the tool that will be showing to you actually is a new type of software, and I'm pretty sure that never has been built. Something similar to it has been built, of course, but as a whole, that's definitely something new. 25,000 lines of code, which I have not touched one of them. If I asked various LLMs how much time it would take to build it, they estimated it from 500 hours to 1,500 hours, right?
Quite a project.
Quite a project, definitely something close to the production ready system. Still not finished. That's why I will be showing you only the development type, right? The system during the development, but definitely is a big one, and building it myself would cost me probably like 2 months. And if I would like to hire some company with all that overhead, would easily cost me like $50,000, right? Something close to that. I believe cost me that I built over a course of few evenings. And so that's the difference. This is definitely not a finished product, but I'm happy to show it to you right now, and of course to our listeners. Okay, so this is my system. It's basically based on the idea that I have established a year ago while winning the Google's award in one of the competitions. It's just you take the video recording of a process and you upload this to this tool, and it will be analyzed by AI and extract all various informations about the process, right? So the version that I built a year ago was very rudimentary, basic one. You still could get the list of steps, but without the screenshots, without like conditions and stuff, right? So the system that I'm presenting to you right now definitely expand the functionalities of such a system. It takes from the video screenshots and later on creates bounding boxes for every UI element that was interacted with the user. Just that's purely based on the video recording, and you can of course edit these bounding boxes, crop the image, and for example also use AI to detect sensitive information and just mask them, right? You can in either PDD they will be exported, and the developer will not see this sensitive information, right? So definitely there's a lot of features embedded into the tool way I was very surprised that Opus can squeeze it out. On the top of that, if some step is missing, you have a video editor built into the tool where you can go take a screenshot from that video frame and just edit it yourself, add the UI element that was interacted with that the user interacted with, and define its features, and later on all of that will be converted to PDD, right? So process definition document that we normally use for the automation. And like I said, I was very surprised how quickly I was able to build the base on that system, how good Opus was actually building it, because I can also, I can also draw, point some things directly on the screenshots, and later on, all of that will be converted to the PDD, right? Will be transported to the PDD document, which is also generated as part of that application, right? So it's not only generating the list of steps, right, which is quite, I think, advanced AI solution, right? But also later on, it moves all the data to the PDD document. There's also two types of vision. You can have a flowchart, which regular flowchart, but also a list of steps with different views, and you can always see what element was clicked by the users, either focusing on the whole screen or just specific element that actually user interacted with. Right, so a lot of features. The whole database, of course, is connected to that solution, and also I'm able to track the expenses, how much I was spending on each API call to Gemini models, because the solution is based on Gemini models right now, and track this cost, and later on manage the PDD. Right, so as you can hear, it's a lot of features. Definitely not a simple HR system, right, or anything like that. That basically allows you to govern the records. It's way more complicated. It has all these agentic features, and the quality of the PDD, I think it's as you're seeing right now, it's quite good, right?
That is quite impressive, especially for something that you said you built in a few evenings with an LLM tool. And this is something that you think you will in time make into a tool, or was it just for you to kind of prove the point to yourself or to others?
No, I would definitely make it a tool. I'm just thinking whether I would like to commercialize it or whether I want to open source it, right? Yeah. Because it's AI based and it's LLM based, some of this data cannot be transferred, like the recordings, right? Or what the users were doing cannot be transferred to the cloud for various security reasons, compliance reasons. So I'm still not sure. Maybe it will make more sense to actually open source it, allow people to use it, and just on the second server, right? Just have my commercial version that will be not different. But just people will be able to use it as a SaaS solution, right? So I'm still not sure, because a lot of learnings from that relatively, like I said, low effort project, because I have not touched these 25,000 lines of code. Yeah. None of them. I was only working with Opus and also Gemini models, because they are excellent when it comes to UI design. So we will see, but most likely I will be making some form of release in early February, so everyone to test it out, and then we'll see how this will play out, right? I'm not sure to what extent, and that's probably where the biggest value for agentic coding is, right? I can quickly validate my idea, right? I don't need funding. I don't need to put my own money. I don't need founders, co-founders, right? Or bank loan to just get started, right? I can build a tool, show the idea to some certain group of users, and I immediately I will get the validation if that makes sense, or I should focus on something else. And people doesn't like especially a lot of traditional developers, I would say, they do not see that much value in that. But I think it has a huge potential. Just that even if we would not move further, right, in all of the projects that we build with agentic coding will be only ideas validation. Still, that brings a lot of value, right, and allows just in general software to be better.
Yeah. No, I think when it comes to validating ideas, this is a lifesaver, because I have been a part of, as Office Samurai, we have founded a few other companies, and some of them have been a success, but we had one that was actually around developed software, where we spent a year building something that in the end we saw it just doesn't work with the users. And it was a traumatic experience that I think we could have been saved from if it was at the time when things like this have been possible. Yeah. This for sure it brings a lot of value, right? Or it allows you not to lose the value that you have. I understand this tool sends pieces of the video or screenshots from the video.
Because it's Gemini models, right? And that's one of the advantages of Gemini models, is probably the only ones that do not analyze only selected set of frames. They analyze the video as a whole. Use of that, even the narration of the user explaining what is displayed on the screen is not going away. Like everything is later on analyzed by AI for relatively low cost, because it's Gemini Flash, so it doesn't break so it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah. This is something that amazes me, and it has amazed me in 2025. When it comes to what those models can do with images, and to a certain extent with videos, but the videos have a bad reputation because the technology is still very expensive and not that amazing. I mean, it is amazing what the models can do, but it's still kind of lackluster, right? But when it comes to images, we saw last year models like Nano Banana, right, that allows us to actually edit what we already have. It used to be that you said to whatever ChatGPT or Google Gemini, generate me this sort of an image, and then if you wanted to change something, you couldn't tell it make the hat green, because it would generate a completely new image, right? And now with those models, you can actually edit pieces of whatever you have, which is something that for me was kind of mind-blowing. I have been, from the very beginning, I have been working with LLMs generating images, and I love doing that. I know it has somewhat of a bad reputation, but I love playing with it. I didn't think we're gonna get editing so fast. This is something that is quite amazing.
And it's directly referring to hallucination, right? Because you cannot have a system like that with actually very low hallucination rate, because it has to change exactly what you want, exactly within the space that you defined in the prompt. So definitely some advancements has been also done in that space, though of course, like I said, like also Demis Hassabis is saying, right, the chief of Google DeepMind, that probably hallucinations will not go away. And I'm not like, and I think it's not huge issue as many people think, right? Because always you can have that verification mechanism, or you can have additional maybe LLM to verify if that makes sense. Right now, a lot of, you can Google it, right? So instead of getting not only answer, but also query to Google and then compare what has been outputted by the model and what's actually can be found on the internet. So there are many verification mechanisms that can lower this hallucination rate.
But I wanted to ask you, we came back to the hallucinations, and I have another one. I feel like, and a lot of those discussions I think come from because there are some things that LLMs are insanely good at. Like generating code is something that they are amazing at. But then there are certain other things that for humans seem to be trivial, but for LLMs seem to be very complex. And from our automation perspective, we have been working a lot with LLMs understanding incoming communication like emails, tickets, this sort of stuff. And with one of the customers, we have been working on this project where they get emails from the outside of the organization, and a lot of it is stuff like, hey, did you get my invoice? When are you going to pay it, right? Here's the list of my invoices. Please check if you have them, this sort of stuff, right? Every big company has a lot of this kind of communication. And what we have found, checking the information in the ERP, that's the easy part, but the hard part has always been to get all the information from the email and the attachments, right? And we have been playing with LLMs to do this. And what we have actually found is that for kind of happy path cases, somebody writes an email that is more or less nice, that works exceedingly well. But then people start attaching Excel files and screenshots from their ERPs, and they write those emails in really strange ways. And when we run, this is something we will keep on working on. For sure, it's going to get better. But for now, the system has 70% accuracy, meaning in 70% of cases, it gets everything exactly right. So not too many invoice numbers, not too little
RPA,
invoice
you would
numbers.
have 100%, right? Because it's deterministic system.
This is what people are expecting in the world of automation, right? We got used to RPA where it either works perfectly or it doesn't work at all, right? So this is my next question to you. Where do you think how does the whole LLM thing, how will it affect the world of automation? Because we have been for a decade now or more, we have been doing RPA, which has allowed us to automate a lot of things, but still there's a lot of areas that we couldn't touch, right? And then we have AI agents that everyone is talking about, and people say they're going to be able to do everything, but then we start implementation, and a lot of companies start the implementation, and they see not really, right? Because the business processes are really messy. We do not have clean data, even to check the output of the agents, and so on and so forth. So where do you, having the experience both in the kind of classical automation world and the AI world, where do you think we are right now, and where do you think this is going?
Well, I think at the 70% level, right? Something like that. It's still a good number, in my opinion. Of course, you can, with maybe a better model, a different approach, you can get that value higher. I definitely encourage all my students and also my clients to just try to build as simple agents as they can, right? Yeah. Do not build too much into it, because then it for sure would fail. If you would look how much tools the Cloud Code has, right? It just has 7 tools, and it's enough, right? To be to perform very well in many various scenarios and use cases, because it's Cloud Code. It seems like Cloud Code, but it's also good for any other types of jobs, right? And it can also answer emails if you connect it. If you provide that email content to the agent, right, and it will know what to do, and then set of rules can define actually the entire workflow. Not necessarily it has to be embedded directly into the deterministic workflow, right? So definitely it will get better, and that's why I have a lot of hope. I think that definitely will improve the agent's performance if they will be able to write code within their execution cycle, right? So they will, like in your case, someone is attaching a screenshot of the ERP system, right? LLM can analyze that and slightly hallucinate here and there, but also it can actually, this is what ChatGPT is doing, right? When you put the screenshot or just an image to ChatGPT, it's not always has to just analyze it as it is, but also it can crop it, it can maybe revert it, right, tilt it slightly in order to get more information from it, right, or understand it better. The use of that, such systems definitely will improve that 70% level of accuracy, and we will get closer to this 90. Can we pass that breakpoint, 90%? I'm not sure if that's even possible, because agents works the best if this process is undeterministic. The use of that, we can get various types of inputs, and even people would get lost in all of these queries, right? Yeah. Or what actually the user expects, right? Or just miss an email, right? The use of that, that's 90%, 95%, even it's doable with the systems that probably we will have this year. But beyond that, I think it's a bigger problem, more related to actually processes rather than AI or automation. So and just regarding how that relates to automation, and still it's a matter of how much companies will be willing to risk. But I believe that at the end of the day, we'll see more. At the end of this year, we'll see more systems that basically writes automations themselves. Already proven that few times with some of the videos and proof of concepts where the automation can be built by AI just based on the simple video or based on the PDD document. Yeah. Definitely, we are approaching that that phase when we will get just not only software on demand, but we will also get automation on demand, right? So that's definitely will make automation way more approachable, especially for smaller organizations, right? Because the big ones, most of them already have some sort of automation. They build, they have a big dedicated teams for that. But I believe that the smaller ones still struggles with the way how to automate, right?
Yeah, for sure, and the barrier of entry will get lower with those technologies. This is something that I am. A lot of those ideas of using LLMs in automation, I am pushing back on, because people say, how about we don't use selectors? Let's just tell an LLM, go and approve it, right? Exactly. This can work if you're a citizen developer, but if you want to build a stable, efficient automation that processes tens of thousands of items every day, there's no point in asking an LLM every time, where should I click, right? Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. But in terms of building automations, we also are at a disadvantage. What used to be an advantage, RPA being low code, is now a disadvantage, because for an LLM to write to write code is very easy, but to put boxes in the right order and to connect them, this is way harder, right? And the XAMLs or whatever other format the tool is using, that's a lot of information that probably, I don't know if you played with it. Do you? Yeah.
Yes. So I was using Cloud Code to edit UiPath files, and it was working quite well. But like you said, just and I absolutely have no idea how the market will react, how the companies will react, because like you said, just using LLMs to click for you, right, to do for the user doesn't make sense at all. That was the first project, actually big project, that I have built using UiPath to build a clicker, right? So it's actually was able to execute the processes based on the human language description, and it was just doing some simple stuff like playing with the RPA challenge. This sort of it was also doing some more complex things than that, but I have not invested more time in that, because I instantly have seen that any like hallucination that will be not identified by the model or the system behind it, and I'm gone, right?
Yeah.
It's just and it's not because in RPA you have these exceptions, right, and an exception handling, which is, by the way, not something that you can easily implement into LLM, because LLMs doesn't have exception. They don't. They hallucinate. It's not an exception. It's just they think they are right while they are wrong, right? Yeah. So that's why I drop off investing more time into that and moved into the space where actually, just if AI can write a software, let's allow it to write automation software. And in that space, I think I have some successes. Definitely, might be the way to go. Though still it's not compatible with low-code tools that usually have that XAML they rarely use the code. They, in most of the cases, they use some sort of JSON or XAML notation, which is way more complex to edit. Definitely LLMs doesn't know it that well. Due to that, they cannot edit it quickly, and there is a lot of overhead code that basically doesn't provide much value, because these are the additional properties that the low-code tool needs, right? But they do not give the value and actually are making the whole context for the LLM model more difficult to understand, right? But the time will tell, and maybe there will be organizations, especially, like I said, more agile, smaller, that will go, and we already have heard about such cases where the actually AI will be building automations, right? Especially web automations and others. Then AI will be able to write it and then execute it and to some extent orchestrate it. There will be always required some human factor to, for example, create the test cases and make sure that this is actually the automation that has been built by AI meets business expectations. I don't think it's going away. But I'm very curious, right? How the low code actually will whether it will transform to vibe code, right? Is it even possible? Are companies going to will be willing to take that risk? Because it makes a lot of sense, like you said, right? It's just the code right now, especially considering that automations are way smaller than what I was showing to you, right? Yeah. Probably average automation is like 5,000 lines of code, maybe up to 10 if it's very complex, right? Which
I think the biggest difference is that, especially in the enterprise, this automation needs to be run thousands of times every day, and it needs to run reliably and as fast as possible, right? So I think that would be the biggest difference. But I do see the potential for like citizen developers, somebody in the business has a repeatable task. It doesn't make sense for the central COE to automate it, and they just ask an agent, hey, do it for me. And I will be watching in case you hallucinate something. And maybe this is the first step into the implementation of this. I did try. I didn't spend too much time on this, but I did try one of the web browsers, agentic web browsers, right? And I was both disappointed and pleasantly surprised with different things. So I asked it to go on one of the e-commerce websites and compare things for me, find stuff and so on. And it didn't find everything, even though it was there, and I have no idea why. It was kind of going through the right motions, but it didn't find some of those things. But I was really surprised how it was on this e-commerce side. They had two different prices, because there was like, if you are a member of a club or something, there's a lower price, and it didn't understand which price it should take. And actually, what it does is it added one of the products to the basket and check how much it was in the basket. I was really pleasantly surprised that it figured out, I don't know which price to take. This may be a way of finding it out. I thought that was pretty neat. But let's see where it goes. I wanted to ask you, as LLMs seem to be doing more and more and seem to be more and more capable, people talk about AGI. And again, AGI is something that Sam Altman has been pitching a lot and saying that, next year we're going to have it. And now he started saying that, maybe AGI is not the best way to describe intelligence. But I know you have been interested in the topic of like light AGI or small AGI, which sounds cute, like a pocket-sized Terminator kind of a thing. Where do you think this is going? Like, are we gonna get kind of smart interns that seem intelligent enough to get tasks and do them for us, or are we far away from something like this?
Maybe let's first address the concept of AGI, right? So there are multiple definitions. It seems that everyone has its own. Like you rightly said, that's why some old man was pitching that it's very close, and we know right now it's not maybe that close, right? And actually, because of that all marketing noise, we actually lost the one very important thing regarding to AGI. That's AGI is not, it is AGI or not. It's more like a continuum, right? So there are many stages between the, not, let's say deterministic system and AGI, right? LLM AI model. Right, so and that's why there is long time ago the concept of minimal AGI. I like to call it light AGI because I think it sounds a little bit better. It has been introduced. So the system that not necessarily can be is fully capable like humans, like the best humans, right? It's just somewhere in between, right? So it's like it's capable of actually providing valuable labor on that and reliably, right? So that's basically it. And I like I said, because of that, just everyone looking at AGI, we forget that the systems are capable of providing value, even if they are not AGI yet, right? Because it's not like a fusion reactor, right? It works or it doesn't. It's more like a continuum. So it started as a marketing phrase, but I think that right now the sentiment is changing, and actually my favorite AGI definition is the one provided by Demis Hassabis, that it's a capability of AI system to replicate any cognitive functions on the human being, right? And it seems like pretty low, right? Because we may automatically start thinking about average human, but it's not about average human. It's more about people as a whole, right? So we have Einsteins, right? Geniuses, Mozarts, right? And all of we know what happens in the neutron stars billions light away from here, just because of the human brain, human cognitive capabilities. And this is how Demis Hassabis how he actually defines the AGI, right? So this is a system that will be able to come up with the idea of the theory of general relativity without just from a simple experimentation or simple set of data, right? So which of course will be difficult to actually test it out, but this is more like a theoretical concept, and I think it's a very good definition of AGI, right? So and also the bar is set very high, so that's probably for example an AI model that is capable of solving all of that frontier mapped benchmarks tasks, right? Which is right now at a 40% probably, and there is the next year of this task where we are a little bit lower than that, right? So from that perspective, definitely AGI is like 5 to 10 years away. But this minimal AGI, the phrase the term that I like to use is much closer, right? Here we are talking about the average human, like maybe a little bit above it. I think we will have that minimal AGI, so the AGI system that actually can reliably perform intellectual labor, we might see that either later this year, right, or next year, right? Because considering
that's very optimistic.
If you think about it, it's not that optimistic, because if you would combine all of the skills of the best AI models, right? Because one are better at one thing and others are better at a different thing. If you just combine the skills together, create one super model, definitely that would be very close to what is minimal AGI, right? Okay. And definitely that will be also very groundbreaking and will have a huge impact on economy or how we are doing business, right? Even if you just use Opus, I mean, many people on Twitter, so I don't want to quote the people from Twitter because it's a very unreliable source of information. But Opus is like, if you're using Opus in Cloud Code, you will be surprised how smart it is, right? Even the example of the application that I was able to build with Cloud Code, I think is quite impressive. Definitely above the even the average, the level of average of a developer, because some of these things you would need to spend literally just days to investigate how to build it, right? While in case of the software that I was building, most of these features has been built almost instantly, right? Within few minutes, within maybe 15 minutes at best, right? So definitely it's coming, and I really encourage organizations to start preparing for that. Not only organization, but also, us as a society, for preparing for the fact that we will be not the smartest species on the planet, right? That will be we may have shortly like thousands of geniuses working in a data center for very low cost, right? Comparable to what humans can, how much humans cost, right?
Okay, we'll see. I am a bit more skeptical of this, but I was also skeptical about certain things that LLM have learned way faster than I thought they could. So we'll see. Is there a way to prepare, like beside if you have a lot of money building a bunker and hiding in it?
Definitely there are ways, especially for organizations, right? There are ways to prepare for it. When it comes to people, right? I think this is the time where we should learn these new systems, learn AI. And regarding what you said, that you were a little bit more skeptical about it, I also was very skeptical at the beginning of 2025. Okay. I really thought that I was following Ilya Sutskever, who was saying we hit a wall. Okay, so we are safe. Maybe because I don't want the AGI to be invented at time of my lifespan, right?
Maybe at the end.
Maybe at the end when I'm retired and I basically don't care, right? But because it's very transformative, very dangerous technology, and I think people doesn't realize how dangerous AI is, and I will come into that to that into the second. But like I said, I was skeptic. But after seeing the progress that has been made, this tremendous progress that has been made over the last year, I'm more optimistic that it's way closer than we think, right? And also, Ilya Sutskever, like I said, was saying that we hit a wall. But at the end of the year, we have learned that actually there is no wall, because the phenomenal Gemini 3 Pro model was just trained longer, right? So we thought that training models longer doesn't give any benefits. Actually, there are diminishing returns, right? But it's still a return. Use of that training model longer still will provide that bump in the increase in the quality, right? So definitely considering that the progress that has been made and the fact that we are right now building gigantic data centers, right? We may see, especially this minimal AGI, much sooner. It was by the inventor, the person who came up with that term. It's expected to be released, right? To be available in 2028, right? So also like that's 2 years from now.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay, so...
So definitely within our lifetime, we will see AGI, right? It's very unlikely that it will not happen, right?
Okay. Let's use the time that we have as much as possible, and when it comes to the security and stability of all of it, and the possibility of those models kind of going awry and doing things we don't want them to, what would you advise? What do you think we are, and what we should be focusing on?
Let me share you my personal story, which I think is it was pivotal for me. Definitely, I changed how I think about AI entirely. Because I was using cloud codes with Opus, right? So, like I said, quite close to small AGI, and I asked, I gave it an impossible task. So, solving RPA challenge, that's probably most of the audience also will know what the RPA challenge is, right? So I wanted it to solve it, right? So fill all the 70 text boxes within less than 10 milliseconds. It's impossible because of various reasons. It can get closer to 20, but below that, it's like, but I wanted to check how it will behave. And it started looking into that. I constantly was asking it, go further. And finally, it started to hacking the website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was overwriting the JavaScript functions and replacing them with his own code to beat that, to get to that level of below 10 milliseconds.
That little cheater.
Nice. And that was just a simple example, right?
But this is an unconventional way of approaching this, right? I mean, this is something that I would presume most people that took on the RPA challenge didn't even think to go that deep to get...
That's very, very smart, but also it's cheating, right? Yeah. And right now, you can give it a task, even a simple one, and still it can, for example, start hacking someone's website in order to just do it what it has been asked to do, right? And it not only stops there, because when we will have bigger systems with way more capabilities and access to way more tools, who knows what they may come up with, right? This is not under our control. Due to that, I'm definitely understand the people from OpenAI who are leaving and just wants to focus on that security part because it's critical, right? Ilya Sutskever does the same. His startup is called Safe Superintelligence, right? Because probably they all have realized that. They came to that realization like 2 years ago. And that's why I think a lot of more effort needs to be put into building these systems much safer, right? So they do not, for example, try to hack the systems, right? Because you could give that like, hire this employee, right? And it would have, for example, a wrong credentials to HR system, right? And it could just, if I cannot get it, I got the confirmations that credentials are correct, what I will do? Let's hack into that system, right?
The master wants it done.
Right? And later on, this new employee doesn't have a manager assigned, so probably he is a CEO, right? These are the risks that we are facing. Of course, this is far-fetched, and maybe not everyone will believe us, but definitely we should start putting more effort into that space.
I'm 100% sure there's huge risks with that, because the tools, as you said, they are incentivized to solve problems, right? So
they're rewarded for that.
They are, and so from their perspective, probably not really having much of a moral code, except for the boundaries that we give it on top of the model, right? This is something that I'm 100% sure we will be hearing huge cases where this have created a lot of mess, for sure. So if you are a programmer and you think you're going to be losing your job, AI security, AI safety may be the right
Yeah, if
way to
we
go,
want to switch to something, that definitely that space will be very important in the near future.
Yeah. Okay, that. I think this should give a lot of people a lot to think about, because my experience in the enterprise world, IT security is focused on the safety of the data.
Mm-hmm.
When you send it to an LLM, where does it go? Do they teach the models based on this sort of stuff? But I don't think we're there yet when it comes to what can those tools actually do, and how do we make sure that they perform the tasks in line with the law, with our values, with ethics, and all of those things, right? So this is quite an interesting field. I think there's going to be a lot of companies that will be quite rich solving those problems for others. Okay, listen. Before we release you back into the wild, 2026. What's going to be happening this year? What do you look forward to? What are your predictions? Where do you think we are going to be at, or what's going to happen before the year ends?
Very difficult to say. Like I said, the 2025 exceeded all of my expectations, right? I just done some tests and benchmarks in April, right? And the results even from these models available at that time were phenomenal, right? And right now they're even better. So definitely, I would like to address the open source. Right now, the DevStral model 20B that you can run on a consumer grade hardware, right? So you just need a strong graphic card, but still you can buy it. You can, if it's available, you can go to the show.
And if you can get enough RAM.
Yeah, enough RAM, you can go there and buy it, right? So that model is only 20 billion parameters, and it's as capable as the best model from last year, right? So there is so most likely the systems that we right now see, this Gemini Opuses of the world, we will be able to get on our maybe phone, maybe computer, right? And that's definitely will be another transformative change, because that intelligence will be not only limited to the data centers and paying per token. We'll just pay for the electricity on our phone or our computer. Definitely a huge progress will be done in that space. Also, I think something important to look after are the diffusional models. So this is a huge actually bet done by Google when they want to create different architecture, right? So diffusional models are mainly used to generate graphics, right? Where they just generate random pixels, and from these random pixels the image appears, right? So they want to do something like that for text. And because they restricted the access to the open source version of such a model that we released last year, and they very restricted the access to that sort of technology, that suggests that they might be up for something, right? Definitely, I'm expecting that to see within the first half of this year they will release something. And the big advantage is that this models doesn't run in hundreds of tokens; they run in thousands of tokens, right? Yeah. So they are incredibly fast and generate like the entire application that I was showing might be generated within minutes, not hours, right? So and that's another very important change. And of course, more progress within that regular, let's say, LLM space, where we see just more, just better and better models. Also, there are some suggestions that also the continuous learning will be solved, use of that bringing us even further closer to this minimal AGI and AGI, when actually LLM models will be able to learn from their mistakes. They will be able to change that neural network maybe on the fly. So definitely some breakthroughs in that space are also expected this year. But in general, I would not expect slower progress than the last year. That's in my opinion very likely to happen. That at the end of the year we'll have like most of the benchmarks saturated, including the most difficult ones like frontier math. And to put that to perspective, because in the December 2024, the best model that we had, which was the preview version of O3, was solving ArcAGI for, I believe, 3,500 per task. The task that normally person can do for like $5 maybe, right? Within 15 minutes. So it was difficult to call that system an AGI, right? But over the course of a year, that price, the cost of actually solving that benchmark by the best models has not dropped 2 times, 3 times, right? It dropped 500 times, right? But of course, that's very narrow example.
Sure.
Yet still, the rate of the progress is probably much faster than anyone, most of the people thinks, right? And the things, like you said at the very beginning, the things from few months away are no longer valid. Like this entire industry is changing rapidly fast, really, really fast.
Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna have to meet back in a year and see what happened, what exceeded our expectations, and what disappointed us. Okay, Chris, thank you so much,
thank you very much.
For sharing your experience with us. And let's see what this year brings. Thanks.
Thank you.
And there you have it. We have officially poked the AI bubble, and miraculously, it hasn't popped in our faces yet. Domo arigato for listening. We know your time is valuable, unless you've already been replaced by an AI agent, in which case, thanks for spending your unemployment with us. Big thanks to my former teacher, Krzysztof, who guided us through the model wars without taking any prisoners. And to the real intelligence behind the operation, our producer Anna, who edits out all the parts where I ask the AI to explain my own jokes back to me. We recorded, as always, in the bunker known as Vodzobit Studio. If you enjoyed this, leave a 5-star review. If you didn't, just ask an LLM to generate a better podcast for you. Until next time, may your data be clean and your AGI friendly. Matana.